Thank you, Nitin, Chair of the FRCS Board, Mr. Malakai Nyanga, CEO, Mr. Udit Singh, board members, and representatives of various agencies, including the Australian Federal Police. I see my good friend, Mr. Jitoko Tikolevu. Welcome to the board of FRCS. Many years ago, I was on the FRCS board, and this was back in 2004 or 5, and Mr. Tikolevu was the head of policy. I got sacked after the 2006 coup as a board member. But look, it's a pleasure to be here. Every country needs an appropriate amount of tax revenue. Obviously, if we do not collect enough tax revenue, we can't do some of the basic things such as infrastructure development, build roads, fix hospital, invest in education, health, and fight poverty and improve the quality of life of people. And therefore, FRCS, as an agency of government, is absolutely vital, critical in any nation's effort to improve the quality of life of our people. So FRCS is not just a tax collecting agency. It is an agency that runs in many ways the whole of government. So I'm very pleased to say that we have a very competent board, CEO and staff that I've worked in the last 2 years. We're almost completing 2 years. And I'm very confident that we would take these tasks seriously. And I have to say this: there is no shying away from saying exactly what we inherited when we came into government. Dilapidated infrastructure, underinvestment, government was not being funded properly, our medical system was falling apart, and many other issues that we needed. And therefore, as a government, we need the revenue. Our debt level was almost 10 billion, 90% of our GDP, and the fiscal space that we had, partly as a result of COVID, but partly as a result of failed policies of the past. And to fix this, the government last year took a very decisive step. And we undertook revenue reforms. We simplified our tax system. We looked at not only VAT, corporate tax, and others, and we wanted to make our overall tax system fair and equitable. The principles of any taxation system rest on fairness, equitable, efficiency, flexibility, and one that collects enough revenue. And these reforms, I'm very pleased to say, has worked very well over the last 2 years. We crossed the $3 billion tax revenue collection for the first time last financial year. Tax collections in the last 4 months have shown very good results. In fact, we are above forecast, and I think that for the first time, probably in the history of this country, we would have collected tax revenue above the budgeted forecast. So today we are taking another step towards improving tax compliance. I would rather use tax compliance rather than tax crime. I want to assure everyone in this country that this task force is not about going on a witch hunt. It is not going about targeting people. Yes, people make mistakes. There are various ways in which tax avoidance and tax evasion happen. Tax avoidance, in my view, is not necessarily a crime, but tax evasion would be. And so I would like the task force to take a very strong but flexible, friendly approach towards making sure that we work together with our businesses, with our individuals, to ensure that everyone complies and pays the appropriate tax. And we recognize that majority of the businesses, majority of the Fijians are doing the right thing and are paying their fair share of taxes. And we need to adopt strategies to deal with those taxpayers, and I would say maybe few who are evading taxes. And deliberate tax evasion is detrimental to Fiji's economy or any other economy in any other part of the world. It erodes the tax base. It places additional burden on other honest taxpayers who do the right thing to shoulder more of the tax burden. And I am confident that the new task force and the board will work diligently. And I think the establishment of the tax task force or the compliance tax task force or crimes tax task force, whichever one you want to use, is sending a very strong signal, message to those who are deliberately trying to evade tax, deliberately trying to avoid tax, and cheating the government of the tax revenue that the government deserves to collect. In any circumstances, the process of compliance can be worked with the businesses. I remember in Australia and New Zealand, in my days when I was studying in Australia and studying the taxation principles, there was always this overwhelming view that the tax collection of the tax office ought to take a very engaging, very friendly approach with the businesses, but within the law, with a very strong focus on collecting the right revenue, but also supporting the businesses to grow, because the more the businesses grow, the better they do on compliance, the more successful they are. So once again, I want to congratulate FRCS, the board, CEO, and everyone who's been involved in setting up this task force. And I want to thank all the various agencies, because your role would also be very important in supporting the tasks of the FRCS in getting the compliance for the organization, taxpayers, and indeed the government. So once again, I want to emphasize, and this is for the media, that this task force is not about a witch hunt. It is not about targeting businesses. It is not about targeting individuals. It is about working together, getting everyone to understand that compliance, tax evasion is not acceptable. Yes, organizations make mistakes, accountants make mistakes, those who advise make mistakes, lawyers make mistakes, and therefore these things happen. But ultimately, it is the responsibility of the organization, FRCS, to ensure that we sort that out and collect the right revenue. So at the end of the day, as Minister of Finance, I'm interested in more revenue. So once again, thank you, Vinaka Vakalevu, and Dhanyawad.